Dude, what fucking timeline are we in where this is like believable? Matt Gaetz reveals that while on an AIPAC trip as a member of Congress, he found an AIPAC guy inside his hotel room.
I went on that AIPAC trip. I went on subsequent trips, and there is an actual downward pressure from the leadership and even the committee chairs. Like if you're on the Foreign Affairs Committee, if you're on the Armed Services Committee, if you're on the Intelligence Committee, there's like an expectation that you go there in some sort of like, I don't know, congressional Hajj. And I remember being at I'll never go back. I was at the King David Hotel, and I rolled back to my room unexpectedly when the rest of the group was still on some planned activity. And there's some dude in my room. I'm like, hey, man, what are you doing here? And he acted like he was associated with the hotel and taking an inventory, but had no clipboard. And so, yeah, there's a lot of reasons why they want members of Congress over there. And it is ideologically to steep them in this notion that the protection of Israel is of great import to people in America. But it's really not that important to voters. And that is becoming more clear on the right and left.
I wonder why voters don't give a fuck about dying for Israel. What message will resonate with voters? Healthcare, improved public education, better job security, or dying for Israel. It's just so hard to tell which one will go well. What the fuck is he wearing? I don't know. Fit. I don't keep up with Matt Gaetz except to bring him up when I want to call him. It's not even like a nation of awesome people who are respectful and like fun to be around. It's a colony of like racist weirdos. I mean, when 91% of the polled population in Israel says that they just want to gently ethnically cleanse the Gazans by moving them somewhere else and then never letting them return, what the fuck else do you call that? Literally, what do you call that?
In our world lead, Israel's security cabinet has been meeting for more than 5 hours now, and there is still no final decision announced on whether to endorse Prime Minister Netanyahu's call for Israeli forces to occupy all of Gaza. Netanyahu talked with Fox earlier today to explain his thinking.
Will Israel take control of all of Gaza?
We intend to, in order to assure our security, remove Hamas there, enable the population to be free of Gaza, and to pass it to civilian Gaza.
I'm sorry, what? What was that? Did you just fucking say the quiet part out loud? To enable our citizens to be free of Gaza? This is the reason why he is a wanted war criminal, and this is the reason why Israel is being accused of a genocide, and this is why there's an arrest warrant out for him. It's because Bibi Netanyahu, Yoav Gallant, and a million other staff members in the Israeli government happily and gleefully say explicitly genocidal rhetoric. And if not for the fact that they explicitly said genocidal rhetoric, it would be much, much, much more difficult to try and prove that Israel is committing a genocide. If literally they just followed the shut the fuck up Friday rule and just never spoke, it would be way harder publicly to be able to say, oh, well, we're pretty sure that they're doing a genocide. It'd be like, well, they are killing a lot of people. And then they say absolutely nothing and that's it. The reason that they're being accused of it is because of shit like this. Because they just happily say all this shit out loud. We're fighting human animals. We will raise Gaza. They will have no food, no water, no electricity.
Enable the population to be free of Gaza and to pass it to civilian government.
Free of Gaza.
That is not Hamas and not anyone advocating the destruction of Israel. That's what we want to do.
CNN's Matthew Chance is with us from Amman, Jordan. Matthew, what are you hearing about this ongoing debate about whether Israel should occupy all of Gaza?
Well, first of all, that security cabinet meeting, Jake, is still underway. It's been going on, as you mentioned, for more than 5 hours. We don't know whether it's going to break up soon or whether it's going to go on through the night. But I think that's a reflection of just how divided not just the cabinet and the government, but the country at large, Israel, is about what to do about Gaza, about how, first and foremost, to get the hostages back. There are still 50 hostages, 20 of them still believed to be alive, inside the Gaza Strip. And you've got elements on the right wing of Israeli politics that want the military to double down and for Hamas to be destroyed as a means of removing the threat, but also getting the hostages back. But according to the latest opinion polls, the vast majority of Israelis want the opposite. They want a deal to be cut with Hamas as soon as possible as a sort of guarantee of getting as many hostages back alive as possible. And there's a great deal of concern and anger in the country that there's a possibility the war, which has drained the energy from the nation, from the reservists, from people in general, may continue now if Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, gets his way and fulfills his intention to take full military control of the Gaza Strip. I mean, just very briefly, the 25% of Gaza that the Israelis don't fully control, that's where the majority of the Palestinian people are, and it's also believed to be where the majority of the hostages are, and so potentially their lives will be at risk with a further military operation.
And Matthew, you're in Amman, Jordan, because you were able to ride along on a Jordanian airdrop of food to help those starving in Gaza. Tell us about that.
Yeah. I mean, look, these have been going on for some time. It's Jordan that's carrying out these humanitarian aid drops. Germany, France, Belgium, a number of other countries are doing it as well. They've been pretty heavily criticised, actually, for being not very effective. They don't deliver anywhere near enough aid needed to address the humanitarian shortages in Gaza. They're also quite dangerous. People have been killed in Gaza when food parcels have dropped on top of them. And they're just seen as performative, symbolic more than practical. But having said that, given the acute shortages and the hunger crisis in Gaza right now, we delivered 6.5 tons of powdered milk and tinned food. For some people in Gaza, that could mean the difference between life and death. But I think the real value of us being on the plane today was that we were able to get a glimpse inside Gaza and have a look from a bird's eye view, quite literally, the sheer devastation that has been wrought across the Gaza Strip.
That looks like enough food to feed 1.5 million people.
2 years now of a constant...
That should be enough. It's only 1.5 million people, Michael. How much could they need? 10 boxes?
Campaign by Israel against Hamas and other militant groups inside Gaza. And it was a really shocking scene.
By the way, you gotta love the passive language on CNN. They're starving for some reason, unbeknownst to us.
Much of it has been laid to waste. It's like a sort of moonscape, a desert of ruins, where there's still a lot of people, of course, increasingly struggling to survive. Jake.
All right, Matthew Chance in Amman, Jordan, thank you so much. With us now, Ephraim Halevi, who, among other top security jobs, was once director of Israel's National Intelligence Agency, the Mossad, in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. What is your reaction to what we're hearing today from Prime Minister Netanyahu, that his government intends to take control of all of Gaza?
I think the general sentiment in Israel is, as you have heard just now, that a vast majority of Israelis do not wish this plan to come into fruition. As you know, the cabinet is now in session. They have not yet reached a finalization of what they're going to do. There's a very strong group of ministers in the cabinet who do not accept.
So, like, what? What the fuck am I supposed to do when CNN is featuring this story that says, Netanyahu, we intend to take control of all of Gaza. And then they also run this story. Netanyahu insists Israel won't occupy Gaza. With the caption, Israel's security cabinet approved a plan to take control of Gaza City. What
and the future of millions of Palestinians now entering a new and uncertain phase. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu now denying that his country will seize and occupy the enclave. Writing on the platform formerly known as Twitter, Netanyahu said this, quote, "We are not going to occupy Gaza. We are going to free Gaza from Hamas," end quote. He felt compelled to put out that tweet after intense backlash within Israel and around the world after his security cabinet approved a plan for the Israeli military to seize and control Gaza City, which until the war had been Gaza's most populous. Here's what Netanyahu said the day before this was announced.
Will Israel take control of all of Gaza?
We intend to, in order to assure our security, remove Hamas there, enable the population to be free of Gaza, and to pass it to civilian governance. That is not Hamas and not anyone advocating.
What the fuck is happening? Netanyahu is, oh my God. Netanyahu insists Israel is not going to occupy Gaza after Security Cabinet okays plans to control Gaza City with the headline from Fox News, Netanyahu, Israel intends to control all of Gaza.
The destruction of Israel.
So almost 2 years into this war, Netanyahu is now under immense pressure, both at home and abroad. Today, family members of the 50 hostages still held in Gaza held a Shabbat dinner outside the defense minister's home in protest. Yesterday, other hostage family members sailed toward Gaza, urging an end to what they called an endless war. But the reality is that Netanyahu's power is, for the most part, unchecked here, and that has led some others to call on President Trump to exert his influence over the Israeli prime minister. Over 600 retired Israeli security officials penned a letter to Trump urging him to pressure Israel into stopping the war. And here is one of Israel's former prime ministers on CNN earlier today.
President Trump is an enormously powerful leader. He has this power in order to use it in a way that can make a difference. Take the leadership and force the Israeli government, because you are the only person that can force the Israeli government to do what needs to be done, and you are the only one that can do it.
All right.
And why the fuck would he do that? What? CNN acting like this is new? But liberals told me that they were working tirelessly. They were working tirelessly. Dude, that one article on, I think it's on the Washington Post. I don't remember. Maybe it was on something else. That's like, it's like a quote from Netanyahu saying Americans or like America's so easy to trick or something like that. And it's from 14 years ago. It's like, wow, I'm glad nothing has changed. Literally nothing. There was another article from even not just Al Jazeera, because Al Jazeera's coverage has always been on, at least on covering Israel's war crimes, has been pretty good. But Netanyahu U.S. easily manipulated from 2010, and the video was shot in 2001. I know what America is, Netanyahu said. America is a thing you can move very easily, move it in the right direction. They won't get in the way. And nothing has changed. 47% of Israelis think that the IDF should kill everyone in Gaza per Haaretz. I mean, I think it's like an obscene, like 80 or 90% of Israelis think that they should just displace all the Gazans and send them to like Egypt. You know, like ethnically cleansing them. And by the way, absolutely nothing has changed, which has been like, this has been the worst part about this genocide since day one. There isn't even like, all of it is grandstanding. There is not even an attempt to try and pretend like there is some strategy. It's just, yeah, we're going to fix this area by removing Hamas. No, we don't have an end goal. We're just going to.
There is growing global condemnation for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's plan to take control of Gaza City. A new satellite image shows Israel's military is already building up its forces near the border of Gaza City, just a day after Israel's security cabinet approved the takeover plan. Joining me now to discuss is Max Boot. He is a senior fellow with the Council of Foreign Relations and a columnist for The Washington Post. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Well, it doesn't appear that Netanyahu has much support at home or internationally to conduct this operation. Even the IDF's chief of staff is warning Netanyahu in a meeting, according to a source, that a full takeover of Gaza would trap the military within the enclave and put the remaining hostages at risk. So why is he pushing forward on this?
I think the primary impetus is coming from Netanyahu's own cabinet, because this is what the hardliners, the far right and the Israeli government, they are demanding this as the price of continuing to support Netanyahu. And of course, without their support, he would fall from power. But this is a deeply misguided idea to send the IDF deep into the warrens of Gaza City with no plan for getting them out. There is no exit strategy. There is no end game. This is simply a recipe for an endless guerrilla war, which is exactly what Hamas wants. That's why the IDF leadership themselves, they don't want to do this, because they know this is going to trap their forces in this quagmire without any obvious way to leave. But Netanyahu is basically willing to sacrifice the lives of Palestinians as well as IDF soldiers to stay in power. It's deeply dismaying, and it's something that the United States should be speaking up about. Instead, I think President Trump is basically giving Netanyahu an implicit green light to go ahead.
And talking about Trump, he's taking a more hands-off approach, saying it's, quote, up to Israel whether to occupy the entire Gaza Strip. What does that reveal about the U.S.'s role in this conflict going forward?
I think it's pretty clear that Netanyahu has the upper hand in the Trump-Netanyahu relationship. You saw it earlier with the bombing of Iran, where Trump tried to dissuade Netanyahu. Netanyahu went ahead, and then Trump decided to join in. And I think now in Gaza, Trump has certainly expressed some unease about the starvation going on in Gaza. He's expressed concern about ending the war. But at the end of the day, he is not going to stop Netanyahu from doing what Netanyahu wants to do. And this is what Netanyahu wants to do. It again, I think, primarily for political imperatives, even though Israel is going to pay a heavy price, not only on the ground, but also in lost international support. I mean, just this week you had Germany, one of Israel's staunchest supporters, saying they will stop exporting weapons.
Which, by the way, huge W. We covered that story a little bit. The fact that even Germany is like, okay, wait. We know we've overcorrected ever since, like the whole, and we've gone full-throated support for Israel. Listen, guys, listen. We can't really give you guys weapons anymore. This is kind of, I get it. We have reparations to pay or whatever. But like, this might be a bit far. And we're kind of concerned we're just doing the same thing again. Because we might just be helping conduct a genocide again. So I don't know if we want that record, dude. I don't know. Germany doesn't want to be in the history books twice for the same thing. Let me see if I can find it. Germany says it will suspend military exports to Israel for use in Gaza. The move followed weeks of debate over reports of hunger in Gaza, but it was precipitated by Israel's decision to expand military operations there. Critical of Israel's intentions to occupy more of Gaza and under pressure from his center-left coalition partners, Chancellor Friedrich Merz of Germany said on Friday that Germany would not authorize any exports of military equipment that could be used in Gaza until further notice. So
Israel that could be used in Gaza, that's an indication of the international backlash that this ill-conceived plan to take over Gaza City is sparking around the world.
Do you think that other countries will follow suit? I think that was a a real eye-opening moment to see Germany, one of the staunchest supporters of Israel, saying, no more, we're not sending you equipment or arms if you're going to continue with this operation. Do you think other countries will follow suit?
Well, absolutely. But I mean, I think it's really the U.S. is the major player. Germany is the #2 arms supplier, but the U.S. is #1 by a large margin. If President Trump were to say, hey, we're not going to send more weapons to Israel unless you guys start to pull back in the Gaza Strip, make a deal with Hamas.
Odds that Israel asked the U.S. to send more weapons to fill in for Germany. Bold of you to assume that Israel needs to even ask. They're probably currently drafting every single fucking AIPAC-funded piece of shit in Congress is probably already drafting the next $10 trillion to Israel. Well, since Germany is now anti-Semitic again, shame on you, Germany, for being anti-Semitic, for not funding a genocide. We will be writing as many checks as we need to, so you guys have, what are you guys calling it? Defensive weapons? That's what, yeah, okay, yeah, defensive. Here are the defensive bullets and the defensive missiles and the defensive armor and the defensive tanks. Is that enough defensive things for you guys? Is that good? Is that good? Do you need anything else? Just let us know. Just let us know what else you need to build your Death Star. Defensively, of course. Your defensive Death Star, of course. Just let us know.
And implement a strategy for a long-term governance plan with Arab support. I think that kind of pressure from the U.S. would be meaningful, but President Trump is not willing to use the leverage that he has on Netanyahu. And so Netanyahu basically feels free to ignore what the international community is saying and to go ahead with this ill-conceived plan, which unfortunately will lead to more suffering and could very possibly lead to the deaths of the remaining 20 Israeli hostages.
And real quick here, we're running out of time. But Max, can you tell me, the IDF, it already controls 75% of Gaza. How significant is taking Gaza City in terms of actually changing the trajectory of this war?
Well, I don't think it's going to change the trajectory of the war. I don't think it's going to lead to the destruction of Hamas. I don't think it's going to achieve any of Israel's objectives, but it will enmesh Israeli troops in more difficult block by block fighting. And it will put more of, in fact, all of Gaza's population under Israeli control, and it will endanger the lives of Israeli hostages. I mean, more than the actual strategy for getting into Gaza, what I'm concerned about, there is no strategy for getting out. I mean, it's been a long time since this war started on October 7th, 2023. And in that whole time, Netanyahu has still not come up with a post-war plan. What is Israel's objective? And if you don't have an objective, you're guaranteed to fail. If you don't know how a realistic achievement that you're trying to get to, you're not going to get there. And I think that the consensus of the IDF is that the objective that Netanyahu has put out there, which is liberating all the hostages by force and destroying every remnant of Hamas, that's not a realistic military objective.
That's not their objective. If their objective was releasing the hostages, they wouldn't have immediately broken the ceasefire.
Achieve the realistic objective, which is to prevent Hamas from carrying out another October 7th attack.
Yeah, and you've heard so much of the international community warning that this is going to take a human toll, a greater human toll, not just for Palestinians, but for these Israeli hostages.
WDR have an article being like MERS. Is his power dwindling? No more weapons for Israel. High-grade chat.
And as we heard from the IDF chief, even his own soldiers, he's worried about there as well. Max Boot, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Lord, dude, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I kind of like, I can't believe we live in the world where we call people like Mrs. Rachel or Miss Rachel anti-Semitic for talking about Gaza and for talking about and caring about Gazan children. And then they're like, well, you don't talk about Israeli children as much. And it's like, oh, I don't know. It's almost like Israeli children aren't fucking starving. It's almost like they're not fucking starving. I don't know. How about that? How about as like an idea? But as an idea, you're going to talk about the people that are suffering more intentionally by a different state as a question, as just like, but what a fucking wild world that we live in where like political pundits are still afraid to criticize Israel, and like congressmen won't even criticize Israel because they're too busy fucking lining their pockets. But you know who is criticizing Israel? Do you know who is fucking making an effort to uplift Palestinian voices? Fitness YouTubers. Now, to be clear, Jeff Nipple has always been kind of a goat. Always been kind of goated with the sauce. But even fucking Jeff Nipple.
When you only have a couple water gallons to train with and your diet is so bad, even calling it suboptimal is a compliment. You need to make sure that everything...
Sorry, this was a really good... off of this tweet, science-based lifter Jeff Nippard had a in-depth conversation about training during famine with Mohammed, a fitness content creator living under Israel's starvation campaign and genocide in Palestine.
we are doing is on point. Like, you don't have any
The
more...
slob tube fitness guys are out for Jeff. Dude, he literally can beat your ass. Like, can you imagine going after this guy? He will beat your ass. Like, be fucking for real for 2 seconds. Come on.
room for error. That's what I always keep in mind when it comes to my training and fitness journey here in Gaza. So today I'm going to be getting some advice and tips from someone that knows a lot more than me, to say the least. Yes, I'm going to be talking to none other than Jeff Nippard. I'm going to be asking him a few questions on how I can optimize my training and nutrition and how I can make the most out of what I have available considering the situation we're going through. And yeah, without further ado, I'll leave you guys with the video. All right, so great to have you here today. Thank you for making the time for this call.
It's great to be here, bro.
Yeah, so today I'm going to be talking to you about, you know, how someone like me in such cruel nutrition, basically nutrition, like mostly nutrition, but, you know, in general, like cruel circumstances, cruel conditions, can work their way around the obstacles that they have to still kind of maintain gains, or at least maybe like make gains, you know, in the best scenarios. So yeah, I want to get straight into it. And I want to ask you, when it comes to poor nutrition training, would you rather go for high volume or high intensity? Because, you know, high intensity training would, you know, allow you to get the workout done much quicker since you're going to be doing less sets and less exercises. But, you know, higher volume training is going to be less exhausting. And in this situation, you're looking for both, right?
Yeah, so I'm cutting right now, and I'm fully on the low volume, high intensity wave. So I think based on the best research we have, it's pretty clear that you can maintain muscle on a lot less volume than it takes to build muscle from scratch.
Yeah.
And so my preference when I'm on low calories is to do like quick and efficient workouts and just basically send everything to failure. Like that's what I'm doing right now. So that would be my preference. And like when you have limited calories, like you just don't have the same energy, right? Like you may not be able to do like the 2-hour marathon workouts, but like you could get in an intense 30 to 45 minute workout and get the job done. And I honestly, man, in your situation, that's what I would say is the way to go. What do you think of that?
When I first started training, I used to do a lot of volume. I was having some intensity in there, but like I was doing more volume than I needed. And I remember like for the first, I would say like 6 months of my journey, I would say
Dude, like, why is this actually a story that would run on CNN or Fox News? Jeff will soon be indicted for training Hamas operatives. They called Miss Rachel anti-Semitic. They called her anti-Semitic. Miss Rachel. They absolutely will be running that story. Watch out for it. He's Jeff Nippard literally giving training advice to Hamas operatives. He is personally making sure that our poor IDF members die because they're not as well trained.
I did make good progress, but it wasn't the best, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was not the best progress that I could have made for these 6 months. Like, I remember I made like a before and after transformation for like the first 100 days in my journey. And okay, I mean, it was pretty impressive. Like, a lot of people told me, oh, you made great progress and stuff. But I would say like most of that is because of my situation. But, you know, looking at it from a training quality perspective, I would say I was missing a lot in it. So I 100% agree with the high intensity, low volume thing.
Yeah, I mean, like the science-based community is interesting because, like, you know, things I feel like come.
And like, what a world where we live in, that it's just, this is literally just a conversation between two people that are passionate about fitness and want to talk about fitness. And that because you're ever trying to humanize Palestinians who are actively trying to live through a genocide and live through a famine, that is even, that is considered even remotely brave. Like, that's fucking insane. Bro's not just lifting weights, he's lifting up humanity. Bro is Sisyphus. Can you imagine being this poor chatter? IDF are very well trained. That's why they're kicking ass. They don't want to relocate people in Gaza to Egypt. They just don't want Hamas to be in control of Palestine anymore. They prefer when Egypt was previously in control. So, like, one quick question, just while I have your attention really quickly. What about, like, the survey from Haaretz that showed that 82% of Jewish Israelis agree with the expulsion of Gazans from Gaza? Like, what do you think about that? Like, what do you think that means? Just like as a quick question for you there. Gazans as in civilians? Yes, correct. As in civilians. According to the results, 82% of respondents supported the expulsion of Gazan residents, while 56% favored expelling Palestinian citizens of Israel. These figures mark a sharp rise from 2003 survey, which supported expulsion stood at 45 and 31%, respectively. So, like, what do you think that means exactly? This other person, is there an opposite poll about Gazans who support the expulsion of Israelis? Okay, so I know that this is crazy to think about, just really quickly, but I personally am going to hold Israel accountable for their genocide and famine that they are absolutely conducting, considering that they have all of the wealth. They have the ability to starve the people. They have the ability to not give any water, electricity, construction supplies, or allow anything to enter. And maybe, just maybe, you should hold those people actually accountable because we're the ones fucking funding them. The funniest thing about these people, too, is, like, I promise you this guy's never done any research on this topic because the polling that I've seen on this is literally like, oh, you know, this is like a favorite quote of, like, Zionist freaks. They love to quote it. They'd be like, you know, Gazans love Hamas. When they poll citizens in Gaza, Gazans say like 80% of them support it. And then you look at where that poll comes from. You look at where that stat comes from. And it's a stat that says, before and after we show them the war crimes of October 7th. And guess what? After you show them the war crimes of October 7th, support goes way, way, way down. It's almost like they have no water, food, electricity, or technology because we keep bombing all of it. So there's no way for them to even have seen it happen. Insanity. Crazy shit, dude. So yeah, is this chatter going to respond? Expulsion to another country, IDK, out of the area, IDK, never heard of this poll, TBH. So, like, why are you talking about something that you know nothing about? Just like, why are you talking about? That's not, they don't want to relocate people. They just don't want to, why the fuck are you saying this shit? Why are you making up propaganda? Why are you like, that's not true? I'm pretty sure CNN, Fox, whatever fucking journal told me that they just really don't like Hamas. Yeah, dude, this chatter unironically pulled this other chatter with like the, what about Gazans who support the expulsion of Israelis? Denims, is there an opposite poll about what Jews in concentration camps and what they think of Nazis and Germans, ? Hey, is there an opposite poll? So the people that are in the world's largest open air prison that are actively being starved and genocided, is there a poll to tell us how they feel about the Israelis? Because something tells me if you polled them, they wouldn't like the Israelis very much. Yeah, I'm very smart. I know. Crazy, but like when you get genocided by a different group of people, you don't like that group of people. Wild. That's insane. That's really wacky there. You're still... God, dude. So fucking pathetic, dude. Just say that you love seeing dead Palestinian children. Just fucking own it, dude. Just literally own it. Don't do this fucking half measure shit. Just say it with your whole chest the way that the Israelis say it. Say you want to fucking ethnically displace them. Just fucking say it, dude. Don't do this pussyfooting bullshit. Just fucking own up to it so we can have you on fucking record committing to this fucking insane position. So we don't have to play these fucking mind games. It's so cowardly. It's so cowardly to be like, why you don't eat Hamas? You're so delusional. I condemn Israel. Do you? That's why you felt the need to say, fuck Hamas, fuck Hamas, fuck Hamas. Jeff Nippert is like 5'6", LOL. Come on. You don't like short kings? Banned for not liking short kings. Everybody say goodbye to the fucking bozo that doesn't like short kings. More for me, bitch. Sorry, dude. That shit doesn't fly here. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. They don't want Hamas and Gaza after Netanyahu put them there and then bolstered their influence to separate Gaza from the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank. Yeah. I wonder if we've ever seen this playbook before, putting religious extremists in positions of power and then funding them to help destabilize a region so that you can blame everything on the terrorists. Thankfully, that's never happened in the Middle East before, ever, in any countries neighboring Israel. Thankfully. Like, it's crazy to me that people still fucking parrot these fucking dog shit talking points when Israelis are just full blown for ethnic cleansing. Like, this is fucking crazy. They're just full blown like, yeah, no, we're down. Let's fucking ethnically cleanse all the Palestinians. This is what we have to say. I mean, they're doing pro-rape protests in the street. Like, what do we expect? Wait, what genocide? If Israel wanted to do genocide, they could do it overnight. All right, I know that I'm like talking to a child, okay? And I get that. I get that this is actually just like a fucking child. I understand. There was this really like fuck awful quote from this Israeli official that said something along the lines of, I'm trying to find the exact quote. They said something along the lines of like, oh, it really sucks that we can't kill like too many people in Gaza every day because then people will start being mad at us. Chatter, did you consider even for a moment that maybe Israel wants to be able to keep its funding from America and keep funding its genocide? And if they speed up and ramp up the genocide rate, they won't be able to keep the little support that they have? And that it is intentional, that the rate that they're murdering people and the rate that they're starving people is intentional? There's literally quotes. I know for sure that there's like a quote from, again, another like public official in Israel saying that like they wish they could send less food and starve them even more. No, this is a different fucking insane statement. Like, this is like, what the like, who? How fucking like, you have to have completely lost your humanity to be smontrous, saying no one in the world will allow us to starve 2 million people, even though it might be justified and moral in order to free the hostages. Like, what? This is the one. In his speech, he said this week that Israel was bringing in humanitarian aid because we have no choice. We're in a situation that requires international legitimacy to conduct this war. Like, I'm sorry that you fall for propaganda so easily. Oh my God. Oh my God, dude. He's like falling for every piece of propaganda. Every single fucking one. Oh my God. Sorry, but like, if you actually, okay, one piece of propaganda at a time. If you actually unironically believe that if Israel wanted to do just genocide, they could do it overnight, and that's your justification on why they aren't actively conducting a genocide, how the fuck do you live with that in your brain? Also knowing that they say that the only reason they're bringing in humanitarian aid at all is so that people like you keep defending them because they know more morons and idiots like you will be like, well, they could do it if they wanted to. That's the only reason they're sending aid in, and any aid in, so that people like you keep being fucking useful idiots and being like, well, they could send no aid in. They don't want to. They want everyone there to die. They're explicitly saying, we want to starve the 2 million people there. We want them to starve to death. And you are being used like a fucking puppet. You're actually a total fucking idiot. And then for you to be like, oh, well, you people believe this, like, queers for Palestine, try being gay there. Who the fuck brought up anything about being gay? Who the fuck brought up literally anything about being gay? Do you think that, like, because people are homophobic, they should be killed? Is that what you think? Because you realize that that's stupid, right? You realize that that's actually, like, unbelievably moronic. That it doesn't matter whether or not people are homophobic. You shouldn't be able to genocide them. You know, lots of countries are homophobic. It doesn't give anybody else the right to start genociding them or starving them. Does this chatter know that gay Palestinians get bombed too? Well, in this guy's world, he thinks that, like, there are no gay people, and there have never been and there never will be gay people in any Arab country or in any Muslim country. You're joking, but that chatter probably could tell you what the best flavored crayons are. Oh, I'm sure he could, actually. I'm sure. Israel Finance Minister Smotrich saying starving Gaza is just and moral. We're bringing in the humanitarian aid because we have to. It is impossible in today's global reality to manage a war. No one in the world will allow us to starve 2 million citizens. Although it may be just and moral. As long as they don't return our hostages, humanitarian for humanitarian, it's morally right, but there's nothing we can do. Like, how do you not realize that you are being used like a total fucking tool? How do you not realize that? That the only reason that they aren't killing more people is so people like you keep defending them. Like, we have these people on record. We have these fucking finance ministers and prime minister and, like, every single fucking person that belongs to their fucking body of government explicitly saying that we want to kill more of them, but we need more guys like Madman Lullaby to keep defending us. And the only way we can do it is by pretending like we could genocide them if we wanted to. We just don't want to because we're... Don't put words in my mouth. I'm not. I'm reading the messages right here that are in front of everybody's eyes. So you're not going to ever actually address the point. You're just going to keep bringing up other tangents that mean absolutely nothing because you can't address that point. You don't want to address this part where he says that they want to starve the 2 million people. How about you address one point? I've addressed like 7 of yours. Why don't you address one? Come on, buddy. What do you think about this clip? About this guy saying that he wants to starve the 2 million people there and it's just and moral? Come on. Answer one question. Then he's an asshole. Okay, so like another question for you. If every single government official in Israel is saying the same thing, do you think that maybe they're actually trying to kill those people? How many members of the government have to be saying that? How many assholes have to be in power saying that for you to start believing that it might be an intentional killing of a people? IDK, you tell me their names. This is not the question. Everyone. That's not the question. I asked you a specific question. What percentage of their government has to exhibit genocidal language, talking about killing 2 million people, that it's moral, that it's just? How many of those people? What percentage for you to start considering a genocide? Unless this chatter meant by everyone, 100% of the government. Man, are you this stupid by accident or do you work really hard at it? Chatter says I'm a dumb, but at least I'm not that dumb. God. Like, I don't get how this is something that I genuinely, I can't understand it. Like, I can't fathom it. That, like, you can be shown so much explicitly pro-genocidal language from Israelis, from Israeli officials, from IDF members, and still be like, well, no. What I see is not accurate. It's actually Hamas's fault. Like, what the fuck has to fry your brain that bad that you have to jump through these fucking hoops to ignore everyone in positions of power explicitly admitting to war crimes, admitting to wanting to commit war crimes, admitting to wanting to kill all these people? I like, one person, okay. Two people, okay. Three people, okay. When you're at 81% of the fucking population wants to ethnically cleanse these people, ethnically cleanse here means expelling a group of people and not letting them return. How do you still not think that the country is being genocidal? Like how can you make these mental fucking, how can you do this mental gymnastics? 8 out of 10 people in Israel that you run into are going to say, no, we should kick all of the Gazans out. It would be better if we moved all of them out of here. What? Transfer is being a euphemistic term for ethnic cleansing? Yeah. I just don't get it. It just doesn't make sense to me. It literally just like doesn't make sense to me. If you imagine if you said the same thing about Israelis, the world would crucify you. I mean, there literally was someone in chat being like, yeah, well, what do we Gazans think about Israelis? It's like, God, you're so fucking stupid. Where does it say ethnically cleansed? It says expelled. And yeah, I'd feel the same way with they kept trying to kill my people. If you Google the definition for ethnically cleansing, in that definition is mass expulsion. If all Nazi Germany did was kick every single Jewish person out, that would still be considered ethnically cleansing. That is definitionally ethnically cleansing. You can Google this if you don't believe me, okay? All right. Moving on, chat. Sorry, I got super distracted. Anyways, big props. Getting back to our wholesome story. Big props to Jeff Nipple. I love Jeff Nipple. All right. We love Jeff Nipple on this channel. All my homies love Jeff Nipple. God bless him.